Hello everyone out there. Hello everyone out there. Can you hear me? Okay, just give me a shout out if you can hear me all right. Good afternoon. So those who haven't joined yet, please do so. Run and join the session. Come soon so that we can start the proceedings today. Let me see how many of you are watching. So all those who are watching, you can say good afternoon to me and I'll wish you back. Yeah, I have Akash. Okay, Akash, good afternoon. Good to see you back to the class, Akash. How are you doing? So, welcome to the class once again, guys. I am Pradip Sengupta, your VARC mentor, and of course, your friend. And today we will be discussing a few more questions on English grammar. And today I will be bringing to you some grammar questions which are going to be trickier than yesterday. And this is exactly what we do at BYJU'S Exam Prep, India's premier online test prep platform for all the different kinds of exams that you write. So we start with the basics, we work on the foundation, and then we take you towards elevation so that you can answer good questions in no time. All right. Good to know you're doing great, Akash. So, English grammar, IPMAT 2022, and let me tell you that this series is going to help all those who are actually writing the CUET exam also, or any other exam for that matter. And for those for whom grammar has always been a problem, I hope this series or this session will help them a lot to get their answers and get the questions right when it comes to grammar. So what do we have over here? We are going to be talking about a few important aspects of grammar. You want to have a good finishing, you need to have a good foundation. That's why I call this session foundation to finishing. इसका नाम ही है. फिनिशिंग अच्छी करनी है तो फाउंडेशन हमें बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग करने की जरूरत पड़ेगी. So foundation to finishing में we will talk about 4 important points. Right? English grammar में, now when you talk about English grammar, I call it the language structure. This is what it is known as, the language structure. And in English language structure, there are 4 important pillars: the semantics, the structure of the sentence, the flow of the sentence, and how to be flawless. This is important, how to be flawless. Now, if you divide the sentence like this, the word like this, I'm sorry, flaw means error. Flaw means mistake, right? You want your sentence to be without any mistake, without any error. You must focus on the semantics, something which is related to the meaning of the sentence. What is the meaning? Okay. The structure, when you talk about structure, it's grammar. Okay. And it is the meaning plus structure will give you the flow. And when you get all these 3 right, we get the sentences as flawless as possible. So it is semantics, it is flow, it is structure, and then we talk about the flawlessness. Now, what are the important components of grammar? कौन-कौन सा ऐसा areas है जिस पे अगर हम काम करेंगे, the sentences will become absolutely, flawless and without any error, and you will be able to answer the questions very correctly. Now, these are the 10 canons, or I call them the 10 rules of grammar, right? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and ultimately 10, right? So if you look at the question pattern, the questions based on, now there are 3 important areas. You have error correction, right? You have sentence improvement, and you have a few fill in the blanks questions which are based on grammar. Yes. So now, what are the concepts that you are tested on? कौन से concept पे वो आपको test करेगा? What are the concepts? The concepts are, number 1, basics are always very, very important. So this session will be called Back to Basics. Alright? So get the basics right and you will get the answers in no time. You will be able to correct the sentences properly. Okay? We must focus on the basics of article. When I say the basics of article, I talk about the usage of a and the. Now, they might sound very elementary, but they are not elementary at the same time. There are many questions which are going to be testing you on the usage of articles. सवाल ये नहीं कि articles कहाँ पे use करना है. सवाल ये है articles कहाँ पे use नहीं करना. So those things are important. The usage, the application of articles a and the, and also the omission of the articles a and the. So we have to be very judicious with your choice of articles. कहाँ पे करना है, कहाँ पे नहीं करना है. There are around 18 to 19 odd rules on articles which I will take up in my subsequent classes. But as for now, it is important for you to understand that we have to work on articles. That's very important. The subjunctive mood of the verb, how to use the second form of the verb or how to use the word form of the verb. There will be many questions which are going to test you on the subjunctive use of the verbs. And when I say the subjunctive use, V2 means the second form of the verb or the past form of the verb. Right? People make mistakes. They think that past form of the verb and the past tense are the same thing, which is not. Past form of the verb is different and the past tense of the verb is different. So when we talk about the subjunctive moods in details, we are going to cover it. And this is one of the most important components of grammar, believe you me. Right? The third component. The third component is prepositions. We all have been studying prepositions, since class 4 and 5, 3, 4 and 5. All right. And this is one area where people make most mistakes in grammar. And therefore, there are many questions framed based on prepositions. You name any exam, and if those exams are going to ask you questions based on spotting the errors, they are going to ask you questions based on prepositions also. Akash is okay. Muskan has just joined. Good afternoon, Muskan. How are you doing? Welcome to the class. Welcome back to the class. आज और मजे करेंगे क्लास में. Okay, with different sets of questions. तो जैसा कि मैं आपको बता रहा था, you have to be working on prepositions a lot. All right? कहां पे यूज करेंगे, कैसे यूज करेंगे, what are the simple prepositions used, simple prepositions, complex prepositions, compound prepositions, okay, and then the phrasal verbs. Okay, phrasal verbs. How to use them and how to find out errors based on preposition. This is a pretty exhaustive topic, and if you have Renan Martin at home, the Bible of Grammar, Renan Martin, right, you can have a copy of Renan Martin High School English Grammar and start revising prepositions. Okay, followed by the concept on tenses. Now tenses are comprehensive, tenses are huge. When we talk about tenses, we talk about the basics of tenses, right? We talk about the sequence of tenses and the other format. So questions are going to be based on different tense concepts. So you have to brush up the tenses also. Then we have a question set based on gerund and infinitives. How to use the to plus verb and how to use the ing form of the verb, right? What are the concepts, what are the situations where we are going to use the to plus verb form and where we are going to use the ing form of the verb. This is also tested pretty dramatically all across, the BYJU'S segment, okay? Then another very important concept is subject verb agreement, the agreement of the verb with the subject. In a nutshell, the singular verb must agree with singular subject and plural verb must agree with plural subject. So subject verb important becomes very, very important, an important concept. And then we talk about modifiers. Guys, modifiers is one area where most of the questions are going to be based on which part of the sentence qualifies what. This is a very crucial area of your sentence correction concept. We will be talking about the phrases, the clauses, and the qualifiers. What modifies what, right? There are two concepts on modifiers. One is known as the misplaced modifier and the other one is known as the dangling modifier. ये दो अलग अलग तरीके के questions, special session होगा इस पे on modifiers, so that any question you get based on modifiers you can solve them with absolute ease and confidence. So there will be a special session on modifiers which is coming up very soon. Then idioms and phrases. Now you can have a dictionary of idioms. How many idioms can you learn? But there are sentence correction spotting the error questions. They are going to test you on the wrong usage of idioms. Now, no grammar will come into play over here, but idioms, it's a test of how to use the word expressions properly. Followed by another important area in grammar, which is known as parallelism or parallel structure. So these are the 10 canons of grammar which we have to study comprehensively inside out, and based on each and every area we are going to be solving a few questions. But today what are we going to do? We are going to practice a mixed bag of questions which have been taken from previous year exams. The concepts are going to be the same. Maybe the sentences will, there will be a change in the sentence here and there, but more or less it is the same concept on which error corrections are going to be tested. So I will throw at you a couple of challenges and together we will try to solve the challenges and get to the other side of the wall. Okay, are we ready? Can we start the session? So here comes your first question. So based on these canons, the questions have been formed. Be very careful with your reading. Even if you know the answer, hold your horses. Go through the question carefully, read it for a couple of times and then try to choose the right option. So here comes the first question for you. Alright, if you look at the question says, I was taken aback on being informed that she had migrated to UK with her new-found love. Now, this sentence has been put in 4 different parts, right? You have to choose which part has a problem. And these are very, benign concepts, important concepts, which you must know. Read the question carefully and then see if we can answer this. Shreya Singh has answered, it should be A. Board Solver has also answered it. He says A. Tejas says A. Thank you. Muskan says A. Okay. So what was the question? The question was, I was taken aback on being informed that she had migrated to UK with her newfound love. Alright, she has every right to go wherever she wants to. Taken aback means I was surprised. on being informed that she had migrated to UK with her new found love. The problem is in A, and you're absolutely right. Right, Akash, absolutely. The problem is in A, UK, United Kingdom. And whenever we name countries like UK, the US, it is important to add the definite article before them, like the US or the USA, the USSR, the People's Republic of China, or the Russia, the Soviet Union. Okay, so there are some nations which are going to take the before them. All right, so this is what it is, and you have answered it fantastically. So this was a question based on the use of definite articles, right? So it required the over here, and that is why A has a problem. Okay, let me ask you a question. What are articles? Do they belong to any part of speech? Are they nouns, pronouns, verbs, adverbs? What are they? Do they fall under any part of speech? Yes? Board solver says the India. Well, we can say the Indian peninsula, right? Or the Indian subcontinent, but it's India only, board solver. Okay? It is the Union of India. That's how we speak. Okay? And all articles are adjectives. Always remember, all articles are adjectives because they qualify a noun. What do they qualify? They qualify nouns. All right? Yes, A and the. Correct. They qualify nouns, and that's why they are called adjectives. So this one required the before UK. Very well answered. They are not pronouns, board solver. I am sorry. Articles are adjectives. And you have the reason. Like the moment you say a boy, देख लेते हैं, an apple, the Pacific, right? Boy, apple, Pacific. What are they? They are nouns. So any word that qualifies a noun will be an adjective. Hence, they are called adjectives. Okay. So that was question number 1 for us, guys. Now let us move to the next question. Are we ready? Let us look at the next question. What does the next question have to tell us? Okay, this is what it is. The oft observed path of many a successful professional lead from a good school to career and then back to a top school before returning strongly to a flourishing career. Stay with the question. Muskan, your question is the India wrong? The Union of India is fine. The Indian peninsula is fine. The Indian subcontinent is fine. But we do not say the India. It's always India. I hope that answers the question. All right. Shreya says it is C. Okay, thank you, Shreya. Muskan says C. All right. Thank you, Muskan. What about the others? Hurry up and please answer the question. What can the answer be? Akash has marked C. Thank you, Akash. All right. So let us see what the question is. The question says the oft observed path. Oft is a short form for often. The oft observed path of many a successful professional, lead from a good school to career and then back to a top school before returning strongly to a flourishing career. Okay, and these were the options. So before I answer the question, let me tell you what the concept was. The concept that was tested over here was actually subject verb agreement. Subject verb agreement. And under subject verb agreement, there are two important rules. Okay, the first rule is the moment you use many a or an, this expression, many a or an, always remember, after many a or an, a singular noun is used. And since we are using a singular noun, with this, we are supposed to use a singular verb. Okay? But what is the impact? The impact is plural. The impact of the sentence is plural, of course, because we are talking about something which is more than one, many, a or an. But the way we are using it, right, it becomes singular in nature. Because after a or an, it is mandatory to use a singular noun. After a or an, it is mandatory to use a singular noun. That is why many a or an plus singular noun plus singular verb. Or the moment you use this expression, a number of. Now, a number of is same as many a or an. But in this case, you must use a plural noun and hence a plural verb must be used. But what is the impact? The impact is also plural. Like in this case, many a successful professional. Now, many a successful professional is a singular subject. That is why the verb used should have been leads. Okay? Leads. That's why C has a problem. We should have had a singular verb over here. Okay? Like a number of houses were painted. Okay? Or many a house was painted. So the moment you use a number of houses plural, verb were plural, alright? But the moment you use many a, change the subject into singular, hence the verb used must also be singular. Therefore, C has a problem, the rest are fine. This should have been your answer. I hope you have followed the concept. It was an easy concept, yes? Let's look at one more question. Okay. The running of large businesses consists of getting somebody to make something that somebody else should. It should be sell to somebody else for more than its cost. Stay with the sentence and see if we can answer this. The running of large businesses consists of getting somebody to make something that somebody else should sell to somebody else for more than it cost. Akash has keyed in option D. Thank you, Akash. Thank you. Shreya also says D. All right. Muskan has also marked D. All right. Bot solver says D. All right. Okay. So what is your argument? I believe you people have chosen B because of the repetition of somebody else. Am I right or no? Am I right or not? Is this your contention? Do you want to tell me that since we are using somebody twice, that makes the sentence flawed? Yes? Or do you have any other argument? What is your argument? Now, if you change the meaning to Hindi, right? किसी ने किसी को बेचा. When you talk about किसी ने किसी को बेचा, right? किसी ने किसी को बेचा. एक बहुत बड़े बिजनेस को तुम अगर रन कर रहे हो, right? उसमें क्या होता है, right? Getting somebody to make something. किसी ने कुछ बनाया, and somebody else किसी और ने, right? उस प्रोडक्ट को किसी और को बेचा. Now that किसी और is always somebody else. So there is no problem with somebody else being used twice in a sentence. I repeat, there is no problem with somebody else, this expression, being used twice in a sentence. If you look at the sentence properly, let's divide the sentence like this. This is the verb consist, right? Where is the subject? This is the subject. The running of large businesses consist of. Now for this consist, where is the subject? The subject is running. Okay? Can I say the running consists of getting somebody to make something, and then the sentence progresses. Now, what consists? The question is what consists? The answer is running. Now, what is running? It is a singular subject. Since running is a singular subject, you've got to make the verb also singular. Add s over here. All right? Somebody selling something to someone else. Now, even somebody is okay. There is no problem with it as long as you are using the indefinite pronoun. That is no problem, Muskan. It is okay. The problem lies in one, because the subject over here is singular, and therefore I should have used a singular verb. Consists. There was the problem. All right. Now, what was the trick? The trick was an unnecessary long sentence. The sentence was unnecessarily long. Okay, just to detract you. Okay, to detract you, to distract you. It was unnecessarily wrong. So when the sentence is unnecessarily wrong, we actually focus on the wrong part of the sentence. Okay, don't let the length of the sentence hoodwink you. Okay, don't let that deceive you. So over here, the verb should have been singular, and this had a problem. I hope that answers the question. बड़े sentence को लेकर के डरने की जरूरत नहीं है तुमको, right? Stick to the basics. 10 कैनन हमने फॉलो किए थे, उसमें से एक कैनन था सब्जेक्ट वर्ब अग्रीमेंट का. उसमें तुम स्टिक करोगे, you will always get your answers right. I hope that answers the question. Yes? Okay. This was question number 3. Tricky था, but this was the concept. Alright? इसी चीज को follow करेंगे. Let me see what the next question is for you. Okay. This question says, now read it very carefully. This question says, whenever I see Gautam, I wish his mother was alive to witness his success and meteoric ascent. Okay, now this question has a different taste altogether. इसका taste ही अलग है, right? It has got nothing to do with subject-verb agreement, all right? Or it's an easy read. It is not as tricky and winding as the previous sentence. It's a very straightforward question. It says, whenever I see Gautam, I wish his mother was alive to witness his success and meteoric ascent. A says, whenever I see Gautam, या तो इसमें error होगा. B कह रहा है, no correction required. इसमें किसी भी correction की जरूरत नहीं है. C says, to witness his success and meteoric ascent. And D says, I wish his mother was alive. Which part do you think is a problem? Muskan has marked whenever I saw. All right. Thank you, Muskan. What about the others? Hurry up. Please answer the question. Tough है? बिल्कुल नहीं. Tricky है? हो सकता है. Shreya has marked B. Thank you, Shreya. Now, Shreya thinks there is no correction required, which I think she has every right to think so. Okay, anybody else? Now, this is getting interesting. Board solver also says the sentence is absolutely theek-thak. There is no problem at all with the sentence, which is good. Okay. Akash has marked B. Thank you, Akash. Okay. चलिए देखते हैं. Right? Let us see what the question is. Whenever I see Gautam. Now, whenever is an adverb which is pretty, generally placed. When I say generally placed, it means it can be applied to all time frames, past, present, future. All right? But more often than not, generally, whenever takes a present tense. Whenever I see Gautam, जब भी मैं गौतम को देखता हूं, मुझे लगता है, right? So, C is okay. I have a problem with this part. I have a problem with this part. I wish. Now, what is the Hindi of I wish? इसका मतलब होता है काश. I wish. Now, when you say I wish, what is the feeling? The feeling is that you are speaking about something which is unreal. Do you agree with me? Yes or no? Unreal, which is imaginary, which is away from truth or fact. Okay? I wish I was a rich man. I wish I was a rich man. The moment you say I wish I was a rich man, it means I am not a rich man, but how I wish I was. So, am I not talking about imagination? Yes or no? So, the moment you talk about imagination, and here it gets a bit important, okay? Whenever I talk about imagination, please understand. Just a second. Okay, so whenever I'm talking about imagination, it should be I wish plus any subject plus W-E-R-E, verb, or any second form of the verb. So, in this question, the speaker or the writer should have said or written, I wish his mother were alive. कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है? कॉन्सेप्ट है using the subjunctive. Remember, I discussed subjunctive in my previous class also, if you were there in my previous class, right? I am talking about the subjunctive use of the verb. So whenever I see Gautam, I wish his mother were alive. So I wish his mother were alive. Correction kariye, D has a problem, hence D is the answer. I hope you have followed the explanation. Yes, this was a problem. Imaginary hai were, imaginary hai were. I wish I were a bird. Right? बचपन में बहुत सारे एसेस लिखे होंगे आप लोगों ने. Right? I wish I were a bird. Okay? Simple. This is basic. And the questions are not going to be tough at all. These are the kinds of errors you should be working on. Okay? Interesting question. Can we move on to the next question quickly? Yes? Let us see what the next question has in store for us. If you are enjoying the session, please share this with your friend. Press the like button and subscribe our channel. Alright? On that note, let us see what question number 5 has for us. Now, I would request you people to pay special attention to question number 5. Alright. Let's read. Shaluka Yadav has a query. Sir, मैंने अभी preparation शुरू किया है. How should I start? Start with the basic, Shaluka. आपका attempt IPMAT 2022 है, Shaluka? Just type a quick yes or a no. Or are you eyeing 23 IPMAT? Okay, sorry. So if you have started the preparation now, it is always better to start with the basics. Warm up kariye, right? See how the questions come. So mocks ko dekho and take some idea from how the questions are going to be drafted, right? Be it English, be it maths, be it reasoning. What kind of questions are they going to ask you? Okay, and based on the pattern of the question, you can start your preparation. Okay, solve more RCs, solve grammar questions, read the basics, right? And then try to solve as many previous year questions as possible because you don't have time, right? एक तरफ आपका basic चलता रहेगा और basic चाहे जहां भी हो आपका. The idea right now is to take as many mocks as possible. All right, try to take mocks and join the crash course of IPMath, right? Wherever you want to, you can join us also because we have been training thousands of students across India, so you can join us for a crash course. But otherwise, you can follow our videos and get going with your preparation, right? Questions को समझ के solve करने की जरूरत पड़ेगी हमें. ओके, ग्रामर पे ज्यादा मेहनत करेंगे और रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन पे बहुत ज्यादा फोकस करेंगे. आई विल बी ब्रिंगिंग टू यू अ कपल ऑफ सेशंस ऑन रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन आल्सो. All right, so what is the answer? Akash has said it is C. All right, Akash is keyed in C. Suhani has keyed in C. All right, thank you Suhani, thank you Akash. So what is the question? The question is, measuring a patient's ratio of white blood cells may help physicians In most of the cases, Shaluka's self-preparation is sufficient, but there may be, those crucial phase जहाँ पे mentorship की जरूरत हो जाती है. So if you have your mentor around you, then definitely you can take the help. Otherwise, follow the mock test. Take some important mock test. That is important. किसी भी एग्जाम के लिए mock test is the lifeline. Right? Take as many mocks as possible and work on the basics. Okay? So measuring a patient's ratio, coming back to the question of white blood cells, may help physicians accurately distinguish infectious mononucleosis and bacterial tonsillitis, potentially guiding treatment decisions. Now, here is an important rule that you must follow, right? Certain verbs take certain prepositions with them. So whenever you talk about distinguish, okay, now what is distinguish? To create a distinction between two things, A and B. So when you create a distinction or distinguish, between A and B, we use between to create a distinction. So over here, distinguish uses and, which is wrong. It should have been distinguish infectious mononucleosis between, distinguish this between this. Distinguish mononucleosis between, distinguish infectious or distinguish between this and this, right? So over here, something is missing. That is why accurately distinguish infectious mononucleosis from or between, this and is wrong, bacterial tonsillitis. Okay, distinguish X from Y or distinguish between A and B. Distinguish between A and B or distinguish X from Y. So these are the two words possible. So what is the first situation? Distinguish between A and B or distinguish X from Y. So either this or this. Just and will not serve the purpose. That is why C has a problem. Alright? D is okay. C has a problem. So this was a slightly on the trickier side, but this was the error. Alright? So that was question number 5 for us. Okay? Let us look at one more question. So the variation is there. If you see, we started with an easy one and then we slightly elevated the level, but the basics and the concepts haven't changed. They remain the same. All right. Now, these kinds of questions are very, very common in the IPMAT exam. You might have experienced and, might have come across solving such questions. Okay. Underline part, you need to find out the replacement for the underlined part. What is the question? The question says, never before had the students confronted so many questions at once as they had in the last test. Sanskar has a question over here. Sir, how to do IPMAT 23 preparation? I read newspapers daily, read books like word power novels, okay, and doing quants and reasoning from books of R.S. Agarwal. Sanskar, you have had a lovely start, right? इससे अच्छा start हो नहीं सकता, right? It's a very good start. But having said that, right, your job should be moving from basics to advanced. All right. So you have done your basics right. You are doing your basics right. That is important, right? Stick to it for the next couple of months. But at the same time, try to have a proper mentorship, right? Or you see what is the pattern of IPMAT exam, because the questions vary from year to year. Okay, the types of questions, the basics are going to be the same, but they actually play a lot with the sentence construction and the construction of the questions, right? That is why it is important for you to have a proper understanding of the test structure. Okay, because time is of essence. You're going on with your preparation, which is good, लेकिन time का भी तो ध्यान रखना है आपको. At a given point of time you are solving maths, English, GK, reasoning and stuff like that. GK को हटा देते हैं, right? Maths, English and reasoning. IPMAT Indore, it's maths and reasoning only. So when you talk about managing time properly, for that you need to stick to the structure of IPMAT, right? Solve as many questions as possible. Reading is important because RC, reading comprehensions, are going to be quite tricky. So reading will help you a lot to work on your speed and understanding the content. But at the same time, it is important to have a structured preparation, right? There are two kinds of preparation: organized and disorganized. What you are doing, I think it is organized. You're working on the basics, right? Like you're solving RS Agarwal. Move a bit up. Okay, because when it comes to short answer type questions, those questions are going to be tricky. All right, have a structured preparation and take as many mocks as possible, and follow us on YouTube, of course. So question number 6, what is the answer? Board solver says 4. Thank you. Board solver. Akash says 3. Okay, thank you, Akash. What about the others? Quickly. Now look over here. Never before had the students confronted. So had plus confronted. Had confronted. Okay, it is past perfect. It is past perfect, yes? Now we are talking about past tense. Akash says 4. Okay, so many questions at once as they had in the last year. Okay, as they had in the last year. So we are talking about two past actions, past action 1, past action 2. The rule says the past action which is older, okay, which is older or old, should be kept in the past perfect tense, and it is in the past perfect tense, which is okay. But the latest past action must be kept in the simple past tense, and that is only possible in option 4 when you are using did. Okay, as many questions at once as they did in the last test. So 4 should have been the answer. Okay, 1 says so many questions at once as. Now so is not followed by as, so is followed by that. Okay, so there is a structural problem. Okay, and also we had over here. We have had over here. Had is used. So one problem is this. So के साथ as नहीं होगा और यहाँ पे had है. So eliminate one. Okay. At once is an adverb. इसको पहले इस तरीके से इस्तेमाल नहीं करेंगे. And you're using had over here. 2 is gone. All right. Am I not audible? Muhammad Ali says your voice is not audible. Am I not audible? Shreya, Akash, can you hear me all right? Just give me a shout out, guys, if you can hear me. Am I audible? Yes or no? Thank you, Shreya. Shaluka sir, मैंने BYJU'S में mock test का it is not complete. Okay. Clear. All right. Don't worry, Shaluka. Right? बहुत सारे टेस्ट इसमें हैं, and we are going to give you the latest format. Don't you worry about it. Okay. Once you subscribe to our test platform, you're going to get the questions based on the latest pattern, guys. All right. Okay. 3 so many questions. So that तो ठीक है, so that, लेकिन यहाँ पे had है, मेरा objection यहाँ पे है, so 3 is gone. we are going to stick to 4 and that is our answer. 4 is the answer. Alright, got this one? Moving on to the next question. Since the advent of cable television at the beginning of this decade, the entertainment industry took a giant stride in our country. Okay. This is repeated in 4 over here. 3, this decade the entertainment industry had taken. 2, this decade the entertainment industry has taken. This decade the entertainment industry taking a giant stride forward in our country. So it's either 1, 2, 3, and if you choose 4, it means no error. Because 4 is a repetition of the underlined part of the sentence. Since the advent of cable television at the beginning of this decade, the entertainment industry took a giant stride forward in our country. What is your answer? Even this is a pretty interesting question. Akash has marked 2. All right. Thank you, Akash. Shreya also has marked 2. Thank you, Shreya. Sidra DZ has a question, sir. Can I take Hindi as domain in CUJ, which is not in my class 12? Hindi is tough, Sidra. If Hindi has been your language, if you had Hindi as your second language in class 12, then definitely you can take Hindi. Otherwise, give this decision a second thought. All right. Akash Mishra says mistake. 3 has a mistake. Okay. So you have to choose the correct option, Akash. Okay. The answer to this question is 2, and this is the answer. Okay. This is the answer. It says, since the advent of the cable television at the beginning of this decade, the entertainment industry took a giant stride. Now, the use of since, okay, generally guarantees the use of a present perfect tense. Okay, a present perfect tense. Since plus present perfect. Let's say this is the timeline. This is present. Advent of cable television happened somewhere in the past, okay, but the progress is still going on in the present. The progress is still going on in the present. That is why since plus has taken. The wording should have been, since the advent of the cable television at the beginning of this decade, the entertainment industry has taken a giant stride forward in our country. Okay, the trick was how to use since and with what tense. So since plus present perfect tense was the answer. That is why 2 is the right answer over here. I think Suhani got this one right. Shreya also got this one right. I hope you have followed the session today. This was, a basket full of questions on grammar. I hope you have enjoyed the session, and I will be bringing to you many more sessions on the other segment of verbal ability in the times to come. So please, and all those who have been asking me questions, a new course has been launched. Join our BB and IBM entrance test, and for details of this particular course, please call us on the given number 880-613-0414 to get all the details. Talk to our counselors today and get all the necessary information that you want to have. All right. So on that note, it is A wrap from my side. Please download the BYJU'S Exam Prep. Don't forget to subscribe our channel. Press the bell icon for all the future notification and keep following us for BBI PMAT entrance at BYJU'S Exam Prep. So this is Pradip Sengupta saying goodbye to you with the hope of meeting you people once again in my next class. On that note, goodbye to all of you. Stay blessed and happy and all the best with your preparation. Thank you. Bye-bye, Shreya. Take care, all of you. Bye-bye.